today's Q&A. I'm Dr. Janine. Great to have you here. Please say hello and where you're from. And yeah, if you were here yesterday, of course, we had the show all about zombie cells. What are zombie cells? I can review some of that today, and I'm sure you've got questions for me about those zombie cells, as well as we talked about thyroid health yesterday. We also had some tips about motion sickness, and I can review all of these things. I also talked a little bit about ulcerative colitis and inflammatory gut disorders with my tips there. So if you've got questions about your gut, that's something else that I can answer now. So thank you for tuning in today. Let me know where you're from and say hello. And I appreciate all of, my viewers and followers who have been with years now that we've been doing the live show here, but also for all of my new people who join in. And if this is your first Q&A, maybe put in one of the comments so I can say hello and shout you out. But thank you for tuning in today. Hello, Lile in the Caribbean. Nice to have you here. Thanks for tuning in. And hashtag I love Orange Disneyland. PJ, thank you. It is great to have you here. Thanks for tuning in. Kay Seats in Arizona. So Kelly, hello. Great to have you here. And Martha in Bloomington, California. Thank you for tuning in. Lori, you are a first timer from Wisconsin. Well, welcome on in. I'm Dr. Janine, naturopathic doctor. And of course, we talk all things natural. So if you're new to my channels, make sure you check out all my content. And a lot of education is what I do to really help to, educate people about your health, things that you can do naturally. And often, you may be at a loss, and there's such simple things that you can do on a daily basis. Reconnecting with nature is what I'm all about, and with so many tips on how to do that. Thank you, Maharaj in Johannesburg, South Africa. Thanks for tuning in today, and it's great to have you all here. Button Brenda in Utah, Virginia, and Arizona. Jane, hello, nice to have you here. Journey Back to Health with me in North Carolina. Hello. It is great to have you here. Okay, Hey Sahil has a question about stomach issues and how to solve issues with stomach pain and maybe some gastric issues happening. We did talk yesterday about ulcerative colitis, which of course is a sort of end-stage inflammatory gut disorder, which can be very painful. Maybe we'll go through some of those tips really quickly. And it is applicable, of course, when we're dealing with, any type of upset in the stomach. And there are natural things that you can do which are so easy to do, and one of them, here are my 7 tips for ulcerative colitis, but this would be for stomach aches as well. Number 1, follow Mother Nature's prescription. Well, what is this? This is tapping back into nature, reconnecting with nature. It's the subtitle of my new book, which you can see here, which is now out, yes, available for pre-order. I'm super excited about this. And of course, in the book, I talk a lot about reconnecting with nature, Mother Nature's prescription. So what does that mean? Getting more, not less, more natural sunlight exposure. Full spectrum light from the sun is very healing, even to our gut microbiome, and that's really important. A lot of people don't realize these connections that we've lost, and that's, the basis of my book, is that we've lost that connection with Mother Nature, and very simple things can be tools that you're using to heal yourself. So sun exposure is part of Mother Nature's prescription. Grounding as well. So taking your socks, your shoes off, getting out on the earth, into a body of water, the ocean, a lake, a stream, anything, to have that reconnection with that grounding with the electrons from the earth. It's called the Schumann resonance, which is the earth's heartbeat. And that's something that's important, that we reconnect with that, and that helps to discharge inflammation in our body. So often when we've got a lot of chronic inflammation, we're more positively charged with those protons. We want to discharge that. We have to ground every day. So that's really important as well. Okay, number 2, you got to get rid of some of the irritants to the gut. So that could be gluten, that could be glyphosate as well. I've got other content on, how we do that and high glyphosate foods. There's a list that you can avoid, so you can check out that video. Just search it up on my channels. Probiotics, so putting the good guys back in, super important for gut issues, stomach issues as well. Turmeric with a curcumin and powerful natural anti-inflammatory, great for the gut and any type of stomach ache. And it actually, you know, what you want to look for is one that doesn't have black pepper, because that can be a bit irritating to the stomach and to the gut. So I like one with a quercetin, which is really, really helpful for that, you know, proper digestion and absorption of the turmeric, and especially the curcumin, the active component. Psyllium seed husk is great for your fiber, which can be really soothing to irritated guts and ulcerative colitis. Stress management as well, really important. That brain-gut connection, very important. That if there's a chronic stress, which is often with all my patients that I used to see with chronic, you know, digestive issues, there was always a stress component. And when you relax the nervous system, get it more into the parasympathetic part of your autonomic nervous system, you're more relaxed. This is really, really important for good digestion. So even breaking down your food for weight loss as well, you've got to make sure you're managing your stress. And exercise, so some form of movement. You got to get that blood flowing, really important. And of course, with, you know, inflammatory gut disorders like ulcerative colitis, you want to do more lower impact types of exercises. So things like walking, swimming, yoga, anything low impact is going to be really helpful. Thank you, Erica. I see. And all of those gifts coming in. Well, this is amazing. Poppy and friends, thanks for tuning in today. And Julie from Kenya, thank you for tuning in. It's great to have you here. Hey, Sahil, you're in India. Well, thank you for tuning in. Great questions coming, and you're so welcome. I'm glad that you asked that question about, you know, gut health, stomach issues. Thank you, Guman. Your tips are really worth watching. Oh, I'm so glad that you were able to tune in today. Kathy, good afternoon. Nice to see you here. Roxy, hello. Thank you for all the sunflowers. I love all the emojis that come through. Thanks for all the hearts coming through. And hey, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. Make sure you are subscribed. And thanks for all the likes and the hearts and all these things. And please share today's live as well. Maybe, you know, I can help to answer a question that somebody else is, you know, wondering about and has some questions about. Ms. Bev from MD is Maryland, I think. Yeah, great to have you here. Thanks for tuning in today. Button Brenda, you have a long question. Yes, so if you have long questions, very specific questions, I have a great team behind the scenes. So please send an email to my team, either at hello@vitatree.com or hello@drjaninebowring.com. Okay, and make sure you do join my email list there. You're going to get, you know, information coming out around the launch of my new book and special promotions and things. Of course, my courses that are due to launch very soon as well. So please make sure. And if you do have, you know, more intricate questions, then please send an email to my team at hello@drjaninebowring.com, all right? And they will be able to answer more intricate questions, of course, that I can't answer on social media. Thank you so much for everybody who's tuning in today. Tyler in Iran, thank you for tuning in. Tony, nice to see you here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so a question did come in yesterday that I wasn't able to address, so I'm gonna answer this now. So detox, we talk a lot about full body detox here, using different herbal medicines to really get at that toxic load. And of course, you know, toxins can build up in the internal organs, and what we may have thought years ago is that our organs are, you know, efficient enough at getting rid of these environmental toxins and toxins in our food and in our water supply. Maybe not so much, because of just the vast amount of toxins that we now have that we didn't have previously. So part of, you know, that I work as a naturopath is to do full body detox. Let's get these organs a little bit more efficient at alleviating that toxic load. And that's why a full body detox is fantastic. Now, the question that came in, how do you detox kids who can't necessarily or don't want to take things internally? Well, you can do a detox foot bath. And it is amazing. So you use the same combination. I don't know if we can pull up that combination of my favorite herbs. Oh, we have the foot bath recipe. Well, isn't that amazing? Oh my goodness, my team is like really on point today. All right, so this is the herbal combination that you can take internally as adults. But you can also put it into a detox foot bath, which I'm going to show you that recipe in just a second. So this combo of dandelion, burdock, chlorella, milk thistle, horsetail, parsley, cascara, bearberry works on all of the internal organs. So for instance, chlorella is a blue-green algae. It helps to detox even heavy metal toxins. Burdock, great for the lungs, great for detoxing the blood. Dandelion, And I'm talking about the root of the dandelion, amazing for your liver health. The leaves are more so for your kidneys, as well as milk thistle, great to regenerate and detox your liver cells, but kidney cells as well. Horsetail, great for your kidneys, and it works like a gentle diuretic, is full of silica naturally, which is great for hair, skin, and nails, as well as parsley, a gentle diuretic as well, great for kidney detox. Cascara works gently to get the bowels going, so great, and in the right dosage. If you take too much cascara, it can cause violent bowel movements, not what we want, so you've got to take it in just the right dosage. And bearberry, great for cleansing the blood, for your kidneys as well. It is a natural diuretic as well, great for kidney stones. So I love this combination, and I'm a big proponent of doing detox 4 times a year. So at the change of each season, so right now is the time I'm doing this right now. Absolutely love it. Gives you energy, it changes your cravings, meaning that you won't crave the sweets and all of the bad foods as much as you're doing the detox. If you're looking for a little bit of weight loss, it is amazing for that as well. If you have a lot of water retention, so your body just holding on to excess fluids, it will help to alleviate that, helps with sleep. I mean, there's so many reasons to do that full body detox, but more importantly, I'm thinking of it for myself as longevity, because you don't want to have these toxins built up. If you've got symptoms of toxicity, like the headaches, like, it could be anything, the skin rashes, it could be anything, that is an indication that maybe liver issues or fatty liver, that those toxins have built up. You really want to alleviate those toxins a few times a year. And I have always, sworn by that, and helping my patients as well over the years, it has been amazing and incredible to be able to do that. All right, so for kids, though, they don't necessarily want to take or ingest the capsules, but what you can use is that same formulation, the Vita Detox. You're going to open up all the capsules in the bottle, and then you're going to add in some sea salt, and then that's something that you can do as a foot bath. And then you're going to take just a 1/4 cup of that dry mix that you've mixed together, the sea salt and the Vita Detox. Now you're going to put that into a basin with some apple cider vinegar, just a 1/2 cup, and 10 cups of as hot as you can stand water, because you've got to sit in there ideally for about 45 minutes to break through the skin barrier, to allow those herbs to actually get in and detox, which is amazing. So that's something you can do for kids. If you want to screenshot that really quickly. If you do have more specific questions on ages of children and things, please send a message to my team and they will help to answer those questions. But it is so good, and it really does. I've done it on my kids, amazing. So especially, if they've gone through something with their tummy, or they're fighting something and they're just not getting well, that's something that can be really helpful. All right, so thank you. Sean is asking about the detox capsules. So I think my team has answered that. So amazing. And thyroid. Okay, so Nadira is asking, I believe, about thyroid. And yes, so the thyroid, yes, so that's something that we talked about yesterday. I'm going to pop back over there in just a second. But low thyroid is something that is so common, and often it's not just a thyroid issue. This can be related to something else, and it is, if you're new here. So if you're new here for the first time, please put a 1 in the comments. Dennis, hi, nice to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Put a 1 in the comments if you're here for the first time, because I want to know who all the newbies are. All right, so yes. Leptin resistance is a common cause for what seems like a thyroid issue. And yes, you could have thyroid issues, low thyroid. Bella, nice to have you here. Thank you. Loida, thank you for tuning in. Raquel from, of course, Vancouver. Great to have you here. AE130 Dan, thank you. Rena, thank you. Thanks for tuning in for the first time. Okay, so your thyroid is working downstream of something else called leptin. Now, leptin is something that is secreted from your fat cells. Your fat cells send off this hormone leptin to the brain. The brain has to read your leptin levels. But what happens over time when you have leptin resistance is that there is a chronic inflammation, and this shuts down your thyroid. With leptin resistance, the brain is no longer reading that high leptin, that you've got enough body fat, and now you've got the leptin resistance. This is also related to not being grounded, not getting enough natural sunlight. Really important to get and build a tan. So that's why, you know, we're a lot of, you know, what we hear in the modern world now is like, stay out of the sun and use your sunscreen. It's so dangerous. Well, the actual opposite is true. And I actually share that in my new book. So that's something that you're going to learn about: safe sun exposure, how you can maximize your sun exposure to heal and to get better and to heal your thyroid. I mean, it's really, really important. And that's what the research is now showing, especially red light therapy. There has been some research done on that and the effects on, and I actually shared a study yesterday where they looked at, you know, participants who were medicated for their thyroid. And you can check this out, safety and efficacy of low-level laser therapy, which is LLLT, and what the outcomes were in terms of low thyroid, hypothyroidism. So you can check out this study. It's really interesting, and it's something that proves that, yes, red light and, you know, full spectrum light, and of course there's red light in the sun, and that is part of the full spectrum of the light that comes from the sun, is very healing to all of our hormones and especially our thyroid. Okay, so getting back to what can we do for our thyroid, we've got to fix these upstream problems related to your light environment, related to blue light toxicity, EMFs. That's all going to throw off your leptin levels. Eating the wrong foods as well. So too many carbohydrates will then, you know, the leptin issue then becomes that insulin resistance problem. And you know who you are if you have insulin resistance, maybe, that you're craving carbs all the time, you can't lose the weight, your energy is suffering. And maybe you're pre-diabetic or even diabetic. So the insulin resistance usually comes after the leptin resistance. It starts with the leptin problem for most people. Okay, so you got to fix this. And how do you fix leptin resistance? I've got a ton of tips, of course, on my social media platforms, but also a whole list of tips in my new book. So you're going to learn about that, which of course is available for pre-order. So make sure you get your copy. All right, but also sun and red light therapy, of course, is going to be really healing to the thyroid. Things that you've never heard of before in terms of balancing your thyroid for low thyroid function. And number 3, I love a thyroid supporting supplement. It's something that I take every night at bedtime. And this is to give my thyroid, it's one thing to be medicated for your thyroid, but it's another thing to actually give your thyroid the food that it needs. And this is my new term, TAPA. So if you know Cabo for the parasites and things, this is a new one, TAPA, okay? So TAPA represents a combination of different natural ingredients that you take to support your thyroid. And these are all in one supplement. This is what I take. Okay, so L-tyrosine, important amino acid, and your active thyroid hormone is made of tyrosine. So you need that tyrosine, making sure that you get enough of it. Ashwagandha, an adaptogenic herbal medicine. And this is really important for stress, cortisol levels, as that's related back to the leptin resistance and insulin resistance as well. And your thyroid, of course. Plectranthus barbatus. So this is for Scoli. For Scoli, again, helps with the active conversion of your T4 to your T3, which is your active hormone for your thyroid. And Ascophyllum nodosum, that's kelp. So sea kelp naturally gives us iodine. And iodine, of course, is needed to make our thyroid hormone. So this is something that is so important. Renee, I love this question. How do you check for leptin resistance? Okay, in my book, I have a list of, and I was recording yesterday for Audible. I was recording, and it was just the section that I just did. I don't know if I can find it really quickly. So with leptin resistance, there are some suggested tips that you can, ask your doctor actually to run some blood work, and I'm not going to be able to find it. Oh, yes, I might be able to. For instance, you can find out your DHEA level. If that is low, that would be one indicator perhaps that you have leptin resistance. High reverse T3. Now, not all doctors are going to check for this. In terms of, your blood work, reverse T3, that's an indicator, if that is high, that it's shutting down your thyroid. So you've got that thyroid issue, but that leptin resistance is causing that reverse T3 to be high, shutting down your thyroid. So that would be another blood test. Not all doctors run that one. That's one that you usually have to ask for and usually pay for as well. And depending on where you live, of course. Insulin levels can be an indicator. Remember, insulin sensitivity and insulin resistance related to leptin resistance as well. So those are just some examples of things that you can have checked in your blood work. And highly sensitive CRP is another one. If that's high, that's an inflammatory marker. And that can be related to cardiovascular disease, but when your highly sensitive CRP is high, an indicator for leptin resistance. Great questions coming in today. Thanks for everybody tuning in, and thanks for all the new people. I hope that you hit that follow button and that you shared today's live as well. Here, I like this question. Ocean Gigi, is ashwagandha okay for Hashimoto's? Absolutely, in the right dosage, okay? So you don't want to take too much ashwagandha, but yes, it can be very, very helpful for Hashimoto's, absolutely. Whereas some people, if you search it up, they're gonna say, no, you can't take it. I believe it's safe at the right dosage to be able to do that. And then it's a good quality ashwagandha that's been tested that, of course, doesn't have any toxicity concerns. So that is something else that you'll find if you do some research online, that ashwagandha historically has had some heavy metal toxin implications. So this is another big point. You know that if you're new here, I talk a lot about supplements and making sure that you're getting the right types of supplements without contamination factors, without synthetic nutrients, that are whole food vitamins, that's what you're looking for, without the fillers and without the flow agents, but also that have been tested. So you would be shocked to find out how many supplements out there simply are not tested, especially for heavy metals. That's a standard test that should be done on every production run of any supplement. It's expensive to do the testing, so companies don't do it. And yeah, that's scary to me. Shilajit, I love. Dream Duaz, I love. But again, it's got to be a pure brand that has been tested, that there's no contamination issues. Amy Coyle, help with postpartum hypothyroidism? Absolutely, absolutely. That's exactly, so my own story and how I came about actually writing this book. So this is my third book, for those of you who don't know. And this was, labor of love. It took me, all my other books maybe took me 2 years each. This one took me 5 years to put all the data together. And this is really important to note that it's my own story. So I, after having my fourth baby, finally went to the doctor, and I better take care of mom, right? And found out that my blood work was showing Hashimoto's, my thyroid antibodies were high, and my thyroid was like really, really low. And so I needed to take a prescription, which I hated to do, being a naturopath. Even though it was a more natural, form of the thyroid hormone, I had to get my levels up and to start feeling better and getting my energy back. Imagine with a young baby at home, right? So yeah, Amy, this is a great question. And yeah, this is something that what I did, and that's, when I learned about supporting the thyroid with those ingredients, the TAPA, that became very important to me. And that's what, of course, I did a lot of research on those ingredients. So if you want to look at, can we look at the TAPA? Yeah. So TAPA, this combination is something that, really, really important. You have to support that thyroid gland, even though, you may be medicated. And this is very common after, postpartum, after having the baby. The baby, I always say it's so great because the baby takes all of your good stuff and all of your energy, right? But at the same time, then it leaves you in sort of a deficiency state, which is just relative. It's a relative deficiency, as compared to before you had the baby. So this is important to take care of yourself and get your energy levels back up and get the weight off or whatever it may be. That could be related to your symptoms of the low thyroid. Thank you so much. SH3 Armen is asking about holistic depression supplements. Yeah, so low mood, one of the best things that you're going to learn in my book, besides a supplement, I do have my favorite herbal medicines for low mood, and and maybe we'll talk about that in just a second. But getting out, reconnecting with nature is the best antidote to low mood depression. You've got to get your circadian biology, and that's what the book is all about, is getting your circadian biology, getting your circadian rhythms back in tune with nature. This is so, so important because nature gives us signs and signals, and to get all our hormones and our brain chemistry back in sync with nature. And if we're always indoors under artificial lights, we're never outside, we're never grounded, then it's very difficult to be healthy. And this is when people start to get sick. And so this is really important. All right, so Fola Hall is asking, what are the best supplements to improve fertility for both men and women? Oh, this is a good one. Again, reconnecting with nature is going to be huge. Sunlight exposure, cold dunk therapy, so using cold, but also hot, so hot and cold. So heat shock proteins and cold shock proteins. So whether you're doing a cold dunk, a cold shower, or a sauna, heat, or steam bath, or just being outside in a hot environment, those heat shock proteins are really amazing at being able to stimulate your circulation and getting, circulation going. There are other very supportive herbal medicines that I love. Maca is one of them for fertility. For the guys, pumpkin seeds, eating pumpkin seeds really helps with the zinc. Taking zinc for the guys as well, important and that's what the research shows in terms of sperm motility, but also the numbers of sperm. So that is important for the women. I'm all about, and for both men and women, doing the full body detox. So I used to always, educate my patients who were trying to conceive to really focus on doing a full body detox before conception. So at least 3 months before you try to conceive, doing a full body detox, just get that toxic load out of the body. Super, super important. And getting rid of those zombie cells, okay? Something that we talked about yesterday. For those of you, put your hand up if you can do that. For anybody who was here yesterday, of course, we talked about zombie cells. And zombie cells, what are they? So let's take a look at the zombie. Can we look at the zombie really quick? I had so much fun yesterday. Okay, zombie cells. It's not The Walking Dead. Zombie cells are cells that they're not quite dead, so they're not actually alive and dividing as normal cells do in our body. They're zombie cells because they're damaged and they're half dead, but they refuse to die. And it's something that can cause quicker aging and disease and more inflammation. Some of the causes why we would have zombie cells, just the normal aging process, but also free radicals and toxins. And that's why I'm all about doing that full body detox. Inflammation as well, mitochondrial dysfunction. So taking care of, our mitochondria is super, super important. That's one of the reasons why cold dunks, cold therapy, cold showers work, because it helps with our mitochondria, as does, the heat shock proteins from saunas and things, helps with our mitochondria, and sunlight exposure, of course, is going to help to feed our mitochondria. And our mitochondria make a special kind of water in our body called deuterium depleted water. That's something you're going to learn about in my book as well. And that's really important for fertility. And fixing that leptin resistance. So going back to the fertility question, fixing your leptin resistance is super important, and all of your hormones and your circadian biology to get back in sync with nature so that you can actually conceive. So there's so many points. Maybe I should do a fertility course. Put your hand up. Anybody or put a 2 in the comments. Actually, that's easier because I already asked for the hands up. Elaine, Roxy, 27, I see that. Put a 2 in the comments if that would be something that would be of, Shikwa, oh my goodness, lots of fertility. Nala, Pammy, Jeanette, Gas Mask is here. Devania, thank you for tuning in today. Lulu's twins. Okay, my team, please. So the first course that I'm working on right now is perimenopause, menopause women, because I'm stopped in the streets like daily, every day, everywhere I go. What do we do about our hormones? What do we do about the belly fat and all these things? Okay, so that's going to be course number 1 that I'm working on. Maybe simultaneously I'll release a fertility course because, this is so important. Mitza's asking about more energy in menopause. I have so many tips here. A lot of, what I talk about in my book is going to be addressing that in terms of energy levels. Really, you have to tend to your mitochondria, which are your energy producing cells, but there's so much more than that. And that's why the sunlight exposure, grounding, working out outside. Megan Garcia, great question. Bioidentical hormones, I don't like them. I don't take them. I don't like them. And Jackie is asking, because I'm going to be addressing that in my course. I will be addressing that. And I actually have a new podcast. I was asked to do a podcast with someone, and it was fantastic, and that was recorded last week, and so I'll definitely give you the heads up when it goes live. But we talked exactly about that, the hormones and some of the drawbacks of taking the hormones. And it's something that I've mentioned in one of my live shows, so you can look it up. I'm not a big fan of it. There's reasons for that. Some people do need them, I believe, but myself personally, I believe that the risk profile is too high, and it's not something that I believe is a good thing. I think you can do things naturally. You've got to work at it, but it's not hard. It's very simple. You reconnect with nature and get your circadian biology back on track. All right. When is my book released? Well, it is actually the pre-launch, so you can actually pre-order. So you can pre-order your copy now. It is available on pre-order. May the 19th is the official launch date that it will be released to the world, and I'm super, super excited. And I love so many people have already pre-ordered. And the first 100 copies are already long gone that will be signed. So I'm going to sign those first 100 copies. So thank you so much. And maybe we'll do another set. I don't know if we can do that. We might do some promotions on my lives here when we're here. I'm just thinking, off the top of my head, and we'll do some promotions when I'm live. And so make sure you always come back when you do see that I go live on social media. Please just check in and see what we're up to and what we're doing. Like yesterday, of course, we always have quiz questions. So somebody will be announced in our next live show as to who was the winner of the season support from our great sponsors of the show, of course, Vita Tree Nutritional. So that will be always, announced. And yes, Mitza will be available on Amazon. All right. So awesome. Yeah, I know. Share Shine. So many people are confused about HRT. There's a lot of information out there. And everybody has to find what works for them. But at the same time, you've got to look at those safety profiles. That's the thing. One of the things that you'll learn about in my course on perimenopause and menopause with the hormones is that when you take an exogenous hormone, so a hormone like a testosterone gel or an estrogen cream or a progesterone cream, estrogen in particular helps things grow. So bad cells or good cells, it helps things grow. And that's not necessarily something that I think is a good thing, is to increase, especially if you don't know. Maybe you've got some bad cells growing somewhere, you don't know that, and now you're going to increase growth. I don't know. That's where I like to err on the side of caution and tap back into nature. Our body goes through these processes, whether you're a man with andropause and changing hormones or a woman in perimenopause. It's a natural change of life, just like pregnancy is. And we have to see it as such and help to support our body from within, doing natural things. Like I'm okay with herbal medicines and things that support your estrogen, support your prolactin, support your LH, your FSH, support your progesterone, your cortisol levels from within, your leptin even as well from within. And, because it's coming from Mother Nature. So that's my take. And I know a lot of women, when you start to learn this, or maybe you've had some bad experiences with taking hormones and things, or somebody who maybe has had some bad experiences with taking exogenous hormones, that there might be a better way to do that. NAD. Okay, Tony Child, I love this question. NAD, it's something that I investigated I'm going to go back on probably about 4 years ago or so, and I had my reservations about taking it. I did take it. Didn't really notice much for myself, and maybe I'm not the best example because I am quite clean and healthy and detox all the time and do all these things. However, there was some data that was coming out that, again, much like taking exogenous hormones, it helps with growth of cells, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm okay with this. And it's synthetically made. So NAD is not natural. It's not a whole food vitamin. It's synthetically made. So I was like, nope, not going to do it. So yeah, that's a great question, Tony. Love that question. All right. Thank you, Web Girl, for sharing today's live. Amazing. And Inger from Denmark, thank you for tuning in today. Great to have you here. So what can we do for high cortisol? I think you mean cortisol levels, Nana Chanel 5. It depends when your cortisol levels are peaking. So yes, cortisol in the morning is a good thing. If they're peaking later in the day, not a good thing. Remember, cortisol is on a circadian rhythm, and it should be higher in the morning. That's what helps to shut down your melatonin so that you can wake up and have energy for the day. So if your cortisol is high, there could be different reasons for that. And, that has to be investigated, of course. But if it's just your run-of-the-mill stress and leptin resistance and something called pregnenolone-Steele syndrome, that needs to be addressed by actually fixing, that root cause. And so I've got a lot of tips on how to fix your leptin resistance. So that's in my new book, so you can check that out, and to balance cortisol. Now, cortisol, there are some herbal medicines that I like, VSP-L. So valerian, skullcap, passion flower, and lemon balm. So that combination of those 4 herbal medicines. Oh, we have it? Okay, we're going to show you that combination for balancing cortisol levels. Can be really, really great. Ashwagandha is another herb that I love. If you've got a complex of a thyroid and a cortisol level, then that would be, the Tapa that we talked about earlier. This one, the tyrosine ashwagandha, great for cortisol, plectranthus and ascophyllum. So if you've got, a thyroid issue plus cortisol issue, I would go with this. But the other combination for cortisol and stress levels and panic attacks, anxiety, sleep issues would be this combination, VSPL. All right, so there you go. I hope you screenshot that. I know it's a lot of information, and on some platforms, of course, oh, thank you. Yeah, we've got this as well. So the diurnal rhythm of your cortisol and your melatonin, this is really important because your cortisol, of course, we want it to be high in the morning. It peaks in the morning to wake us up and to counteract our melatonin, which drops off in the morning, right? And then, of course, melatonin is going to peak at nighttime, and your cortisol is rising again for the next morning to wake you up in the morning. Oh, and we have pregnenolone steel. Oh my goodness. Everybody's on point today. I love this. Okay, so my team behind the scenes, they're like, this is so good. All right, so pregnenolone steel, we were talking about high cortisol. This is often why people have high cortisol levels. Your body is going to steal pregnenolone, and this is where your other hormones can get, you know, sort of they're not secreted as much as what they should be, because preferentially your body's going in this direction towards cortisol, that stress hormone. Very, very common when you've got leptin resistance. And that's why I come back and I circle back to fixing your leptin resistance, which you're gonna learn all the tips in my new book. But I do have a lot of videos already on social media on fixing your leptin resistance. All right. Elaine is asking, can I use the zombie cell protocol for E. coli? Absolutely, absolutely. That would be really, really helpful with E. coli. That is something that you can definitely learn more if you were here yesterday on the zombie cells and my tips. Okay, let's go through them really quickly. Okay, these were the tips that we went through to get rid of those zombie cells. So 7 tips, try intermittent fasting, but doing it again, intermittent fasting, and depending on what age and stage you are in your life, you don't always want to do too much intermittent fasting, and don't fast your breakfast. Please, if you learn nothing else here, fast your dinner. If you're doing intermittent fasting, because of your circadian biology, your leptin levels, you want to have that good healthy breakfast. Okay, so intermittent fasting, cold exposure, cold showers, cold dunks, sauna, great for clearing up those heat shock proteins, for clearing up those zombie cells. Detox, the full body detox, and we went through that in today's Q&A. Mother Nature's Prescription, all in my new book, of course, all of those tips, how to do that, sunlight exposure, and how to do that safely, which is really important, building up your natural solar callus, so your natural solar shield. We can build that up. And one of the tips here is to see early morning sunlight, okay, to build your own natural sunscreen in your skin. Sleep. Prioritizing sleep. Quercetin also gets rid of zombie cells. All right, that was a lot of questions. Thank you, Princess, for tuning in. It's so great to have you all here today. So don't forget, we have a bit of a hiatus, so you will still see my videos uploaded every day, so please make sure that you're following and you're subscribed, and check out all of my content. I appreciate all of your great feedback. Even if you just put a couple words in there, comments on my videos, I truly appreciate it, just even to say hello, which is amazing. A bit of a hiatus from the live shows, unless I do like a sort of an impromptu little pop-up live, so stay tuned for that. I can't guarantee it's going to happen, but maybe it will. But our next programmed live show for the Doctor Janine Show is going to be Tuesday, June the 3rd, so please mark that in your calendars today, on your phone or whatever. Make a little note. Come all back on June the 3rd at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that live show is going to happen then. Check out all my other content. In the meantime, you're sure to learn something good and helpful, I hope, for your health. Have a great day, everyone. I love the fact that you're all here today. Have a great day. Be healthy, and we'll see you next time.